Kia ora, hello everybody, and welcome to this video about the astrology of the week beginning Saturday the 1st of February until Sunday the 9th of February. This is astrology from the point of view of Aotearoa, New Zealand and Australia and the Southern Hemisphere. My name is Fiona of Sun and Moon Calendar, and I make calendars for New Zealand, Aotearoa and Australia, and they feature a whole lot of things like the lunar months laid out in lunar months. Each country has got special creatures and animals and birds chosen to represent each zodiac sign, and lots of little notes about the transits and aspects going on a daily basis, and you can order those at sunandmooncalendar.com. So what is happening this week? We've got a lot of Venus action. We've got lovely, fluffy Venus conjunct Neptune for a bit of feeling really beautiful and loved up, but other things happening with Venus, and we've got Jupiter turning direct. So let's get into it. I'm going to start by looking at the lunar phase that we're in, the moon phase, because that's the most fundamental basic part of astrology is the lunar cycle. Then I'm going to look at the main things happening, then do a breakdown of the chronology of the week day by day, what's going on, and then look at where the planetary placements are at the moment. So let's get into it. Here we go, the moon phase that we're in currently. We had a new moon, a brand new start in the sign of Aquarius on Wednesday the 29th late at night for Aussie, and Thursday the 30th for Aotearoa me te Waipounamu, New Zealand. So that was at 10 degrees Aquarius, and then since then the moon has been waxing, growing slightly bigger every day, and probably from about Friday, maybe Saturday, you could see the crescent moon in the west, in the western sky after the sunset. And by the time we get to Wednesday the 5th, we'll be at the half moon or the quarter moon, the first quarter moon. It looks like a half moon, but it's actually the quarter moon. Yeah, and that means it's really time to get going with whatever our projects are for this lunar month. So that's the lunar month of Aquarius, from the new moon through the full moon, and then after that, the moon waning until we get to the next new moon. And there's a photo by my friend Leonora Soares. She took that because she realized I didn't have a photo of the first quarter moon in the daytime. And the other day, someone asked me, why can you see the moon in the day? And the reason for that is, in the case of the first quarter moon, is that that's the time when the moon rises in the middle of the day. So at new moon, the moon rises with the sun. That's why we can't see it. It's right with the sun. And then every day the moon rises a little bit later and a little bit later until halfway through the day, around midday, around 12 noon, the moon rises, and it's halfway between the sun and the opposite. It's halfway between being with the sun and the opposite of the sun. So it's halfway through the day. And that's why in the afternoons we can see the first quarter moon, and then the moon will get a little bit later and a little bit later after that until it reaches the stage of full moon, and that is when the moon is opposite the sun. So as the sun sets, the moon rises, and that is what full moon is, like they're opposite each other, reflecting each other. And you can see that on the calendar. So there you can see, I don't know if you guys can see the mouse, but I'm just going to try. On 29th of January, this is the Australian one, we had the new moon in Aquarius. And you can see a dark circle because it's the dark of the moon. We can't see the moon then. And then on the 31st, you can see a tiny little sliver, a crescent of light. And that gets bigger and bigger and bigger until, oopsies, at the first quarter moon on the 5th, you can see that it has reached to half the moon, half the actual shape of the moon, the half circle. And then the white part of the moon, the lit up part, will continue to get bigger and bigger until it's the full moon time when the moon is opposite the sun. Yeah. So just going back to that full moon, that's on the following week, Thursday the 13th of February, and that will be a full moon in the sign of Leo with the sun still in Aquarius. Well, let's go on now to talk about the main events happening this week. What have we got going? Lots of Venus action this week. On Sunday the 2nd of February, Venus is conjunct Neptune. This normally happens only once a year, and it's always a lovely fluffy day. Unicorns and rainbows. I put there pink fluffy unicorns. You can get that earworm in your head, sorry. So this year it's going to happen 3 times, and that's because Venus will be going retrograde, and this first time on Sunday the 2nd, it'll be at 28 degrees Pisces. And then Venus is going to go into Aries and then retrograde back into Pisces, meet Neptune again at 29 degrees, nearly in Aries, but not quite. It's just right on the cusp of Aries. And then Venus will retrograde back. And in the meantime, Neptune's going to move into Aries, which is hugely exciting. We have not seen this in our lifetime, Neptune moving into Aries. And then Venus catches up and joins Neptune again for a last time for a final new start, because any conjunction represents a new start with a mix of energies of those 2 planets. And this one is going to be at that first degree of Aries, which is like the world axis. It's a great degree of potentiality. And Venus Neptune. That's pretty cool to have that idea of unconditional love, universal connection, charity, compassion. The downside can be confusion and operating under delusions. So we need to watch out for that, or too much escapism, just not being realistic. So enjoy the love and channel the love, but be realistic as well. Okay, anyway, it's the first show of 3 shows of this, but on Sunday, I don't know, like, just send out some lovely vibes to everyone that you come across and to yourself, and wear something pretty, wear something good looking, go somewhere beautiful, notice the beauty, and maybe swim, because it's in Pisces, the sea, swim in the sea. Okay, but then also more Venus action on the Tuesday, and then again for the same reason, Venus going retrograde in March and April. So on the 3rd and the 21st of April as well, Venus is conjunct the North Node, and the North Node and the South Node have just moved into Pisces and Virgo. And the North Node is like where it is right now. That's where our soul's collective destiny is, where we as a group, as a collective soul, want to move towards. So we're really, in the next year and a half with the lunar node, the North Node in Pisces, we want to move towards Piscean things, which is this watery, loving, universal love energy, really creative, mystical, magical, musical, artistic, connected to God or spirituality, the whole universe. So there's going to be heaps of this energy. You're going to get sick of me talking about it probably, because we've got so much Pisces energy in the next few months. And Venus coming into conjunction with the North Node there. So, I don't know, something could happen, like a new beginning with love or money, adornments, beauty, art, that has a feeling of destiny about it, or a karmic change, like it feels like there's karma, fate. And that could come into play more when we have the eclipses, because the lunar nodes are all about the eclipses, and they're going to be in Pisces, and Venus is going to be going back over this point. Oh gosh, there's so much going on around this placement in late Pisces and also early Aries. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. They'll all be mixing in. It's going to be hard to delineate, but we are in for quite a ride. Okay, and just saying there, Venus has been in Pisces since early January, and it's going to move into Aries soon, but it will be going back into Pisces. And in Pisces, Venus is exalted. It's really happy in Pisces. Pisces helps Venus shine like a beautiful, loving mystical, lovely princess. And so we can have beautiful sensations and a lovely flowing energy. And then Venus will move into Aries, and that's until March the 27th because it's going retrograde, and then back into Pisces, and then back into Aries. Anyway, quite a different feeling with Venus in Aries. And that happens this week, that Venus moves into Aries for the first time. We will have more of a sense of independence in love and money and partnerships. Taking the initiative in love. So somebody who might not normally make the first move, they might be starting to make the first move. More boldness and directness, and maybe more conflict, like more ready to speak up assertively. That's a good side, but then maybe being a bit pushy, or being more all about me. And that can be awesome, of course, because there can be a tendency in maybe Venus and Pisces, or Venus with Neptune, to be too giving, to give too much of ourselves. Well, Venus in Aries is going to be more about thinking, what do I need when I'm in relationship? Not giving too much away. Okay, and there can be also a thing with Aries and Venus in Aries that's more about sort of competitive love, like, wanting a partner who's high status, who looks really good, like really attractive, like there's that your partner is, part of what makes you a winner. Yeah, that's possibly a bit of a negative side there. Okay, I made this pink for Venus. This is about Venus retrograde. We're not there yet, but it's all building up. Okay, so last week, Venus went into its pre-shadow stage, so it's now in the degrees that it's going to be going back over. On the 4th, Venus goes into Aries, and then the retrograde starts on March the 2nd, only a week after Mars goes direct, because we're still under Mars retrograde. And then Venus will be retrograde in the sign of Aries and then Pisces until April the 13th. Just to let you know, that's coming up. We'll be reviewing our love, reviewing our money, reviewing our pleasure, our good times. Okay. We're still in Mars retrograde, and that started on the 7th of December. It's a long one, 2.5 months. We're getting to the end. It will finish on the 24th of February, and then many of the ways that we have wanted to take action in the world and move forward that have felt blocked, like I've had a whole lot of plans, really big plans for this year, and they are all up in the air now. They're really up in the air. And I think I know what I'm going to do next. And I'm making plans for the plan B that's now working out. But I look at that and I think, well, Mars is not going forward until the 24th of February. So maybe I'm going to keep moving forward and trying to move forward, but maybe it won't be sorted out till then. And then maybe it still won't be sorted out, because then we've got Venus retrograde and then Mercury retrograde. So it helps me to know that this is happening, so that I know not to expect too much, and in terms of forward momentum and everything getting sorted out. And then on Tuesday, the 4th of February, another thing I'll mention is Jupiter turning direct. And Jupiter's been in the sign of Gemini since June. It spends 1 year in each sign. And wherever Gemini is in your chart, that area has been blessed with Jupiter blessings, expansion, new opportunities, some generosity, some help from the universe, some good flow there. But over the last few months, Jupiter's been going retrograde, and so things have been less flowing, and there's been maybe a review of some of those things, like where to next in this area of life that Gemini sits in your chart. So where are you going next? And once Jupiter moves direct, things might start to flow forward more easily there, aside from the other retrogrades. But, there's still going to be some good stuff going along. Now I'm going to go through the aspects and transits of this week, the main ones, chronologically, day by day. And you can see where there's a lot of energy on Tuesday the 4th. And also there's a lot happening with Venus especially. Following that, I'm going to go through the planetary placements and where they all are at the moment. So this week's aspects and transits, let's have a look at them chronologically one by one. We start off on Sunday the 2nd of February with that lovely, dreamy, kind of magical, frolicking in the water, feeling all loved up, Venus conjunct Neptune. Just don't promise the world to somebody that you're not absolutely sure of, because we can be deluded and confused with this, but mostly we are likely to have a lovely feeling. It is a new start, and there could be some intention setting with awareness that Venus will be going back over Neptune and in retrograde, and then again for a third time moving forward over Neptune after the retrograde. And so there's a chance to review whatever that new start is. On Tuesday the 4th, there's a whole lot happening. Firstly, Mercury is trine to Jupiter just on the day that Jupiter turns direct. And I think that means with Jupiter turning direct, you can see there the fifth thing happening on Tuesday the 4th. Jupiter turns direct and Mercury is trine to Jupiter on the same day. So as we move forward with some things that we've been reviewing in Jupiter's realm of the sky currently, which is Gemini, there's a good chance that communication and ideas and planning will also flow well with that. So that's pretty cool on Tuesday. And at the same time on Tuesday, we've got Venus conjunct the North Node, which I talked about. So a feeling of destiny, possibly a feeling of change, a sea change, and it could be a fated change with that conjunction. That's another one that's going to happen 3 times with Venus retrograde in March and April. Okay, and then also on Tuesday we've got Mars still in retrograde, square to Chiron. So Chiron represents a part of us that can feel or does feel wounded right from when we're a child, and my belief is that we all have this. I'd be amazed if anyone doesn't have this, unless you've worked through it and you've got through it, but I don't know if we can ever really completely be free of that. It's sort of like a feeling of hurt or shame, like something that we feel like we're not good enough. So there's a self-worth thing there that's we've carried from childhood. And with Mars retrograde going back over that, and this is the second time of three squares that Mars is making with Chiron, from Cancer, from the sign of Cancer. Maybe that comes up, and there could be some kind of feeling of frustration and even aggression, or perhaps being overly assertive about the way that wound is expressing in the world. So try to speak with patience and respect, and when it, or if it bubbles up for you, treat yourself kindly and treat the others around you kindly and with patience again. And if there's a chance to do some healing work, that could be a good time to do it. And but otherwise, going for a run, journaling, climbing a good hard hill, meditation, whatever works for you for processing emotions that can overspill. Okay, and then on Tuesday also Venus entering the sign of Aries. So notice what comes up this week. It could be themes that you're coming back to over the next February, March, April, and a bit of May, next few months. Okay, and then on Wednesday, the moon has been waxing, growing bigger since the new moon last week, and it reaches first quarter moon on Wednesday the 5th, and it's in the sign of Taurus, and that's a really good time to take action on your to-do list and get things going, like really taking some solid steps in the material world. So actually doing stuff for your new moon intentions. Okay, and then on Friday the 7th in Australia, Saturday the 8th in Aotearoa, New Zealand, Venus sextile Pluto, and some more Venus action. This will also come back again with Venus retrograde. It's a chance to look at some deeper shadow work, a little bit like that Mars square Chiron, but this one's not going to feel quite so bad. Though they're so close together, there'll be some mixing in. And that can give us some help, like perhaps something like where we realize we've got some underlying layers that are the not so pleasant sides of ourselves, where we feel like there's motivations that are not so perhaps palatable, like jealousy, greed, actually the things that we all have underneath: jealousy, greed, anger, and much of it born out of some deep insecurity and some deep beliefs. Venus can lend some feelings of love and support with that. And that could be another good day for some journaling and exploring our inner shadow sides. And here we go, for those of you who are still sticking with the video, an update on the planetary placements. Where is everybody sitting right now? Okay, the sun is in Aquarius still since the 20th of January, and it will be until the 18th of February. And that means we are in Aquarius season. Despite all the stuff happening in other signs, we are with the sun shining its very, very bright, strong light and vitality and creative expression in the sign of Aquarius, where we can think about the masses, the grassroots. What do the people want? The hoi polloi. Technological innovation and new ideas, and being a little bit quirky, alternative, and out there. Okay. And Mercury is also in Aquarius, so that same kind of Aquarian energy is still happening. And with Mercury, it means that our speech, our ideas, our planning, our analysis, and our thinking is more Aquarian, out of the box, a bit quirky, alternative, maybe thinking about UFOs and telepathy. I hope so. Some cool things. And it's all going to come in with Pluto and Aquarius in the next 20 years. We're going to get used to topics like that. Venus, as I've said, from the 4th of February is moving into the sign of Aries. Okay. And Mars is still in the sign of Cancer. It's retrograde in Cancer. It turns forward on the 24th of February, and it will still be in Cancer until the 18th of April, slowly moving back over the degrees it went through. Okay, and with Mars in Cancer, we want to fight to protect our homes, our emotional sensitivities, and we need to be careful to avoid passive aggression, but we can be feeling quite protective of our sensitivities and our loved ones, our closest, nearest and dearest. And Jupiter, as I mentioned, is in Gemini from June 2024 until June 2025. Jupiter brings expansion, luck, benevolence, and with Gemini, that's expanding talk, networks, communities, neighborhoods, sibling relationships. And there's lots of bittiness, lots of thinking, lots of chat and communication, and joking and banter. Yeah. Saturn is in the sign of Pisces. It's been there since, I think it was around May or March, something like that, in 2023. And it will be there until May this year. So quite a long time, a few years. And Pisces is very flowing, and it's about boundlessness, about not having boundaries, and Saturn's all about boundaries. So we've been learning where we need boundaries in anything mystical, spiritual, our spiritual practice, setting up structures in there, anything to do with water, hidden realms, retreat spaces, anything that's out of the way of the main eye of society. So in the mundane world, like a normal life, that could be like hospitals, prisons, hospices, anywhere where people go to escape. Saturn's putting boundaries there. Okay, so this is where we could see things like, we've been seeing things like compassion fatigue, realizing addictions have gone too far and needing to work on that. Water, issues with water, and that needing to be sorted out. For example, now we've got fluoride in a lot of our water in New Zealand. I think that's a Saturn and Pisces thing that we've got. Okay, and then Saturn is moving into Aries from May and to September this year, so that's a big change. It only happens once every 30 years. Saturn takes around 30 years to go around the zodiac wheel. So what were you doing 30 years ago when Saturn was in Aries last time? Yeah, Could be, maybe you weren't born. Uranus is in Taurus, but Uranus is moving into Gemini in July this year. And that's going to be really ramping up the technology and innovation and the ways that we communicate with each other. If you think that that's changed now, we are in for a big ride with that. Yeah, so many ingresses this year. And Neptune is in Pisces. This is another ingress. It's about to move into the sign of Aries for the first time in 166 years or something. None of us were alive when Neptune was in Aries last time, so this is all going to be a really new experience for us when it does move into Aries. So it's in March. I think it's 30th or 31st of March that it moves into Aries. Whoo! We're living in big times this year with these changes. Okay, and Pluto moved into Aquarius last year. It's in Aquarius until 2044. Yeah, intensity and focus and transformation and technology, innovation, power to the people, power to the masses, and maybe secrets coming out about hidden power there. There we go, everybody. Please like, comment or subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have some lovely loving feelings this week, whatever else is going on with that lovely loved up Neptune Venus. Don't give too much of yourself away though. Remember to order your sun and moon calendar from sunandmooncalendar.com or sunandmooncalendar.nz. Either will work. And yeah, it's got lots of explanations about all the big stuff going on this year, and you can look ahead to the months to come and see what the daily and weekly things and energies going on are, and that can help you plan ahead. Anyway, so do remember to order, and have a great week, and I'll be back next week. Bye for now. He konara.